Balram Singh, Designing Around People.
Good morning. So I'll be presenting around designing around people. So if I speak, bear with my poor English. So before we start this presentation, let me introduce myself. She already did it. So my name is Balram Singh. I work for WPP AKQA Group. So we are a digital agency, and we have clients like Australian government, e-commerce groups like Bunnings. If you are looking for a change, we are hiring also. Come to our website, akqa.com. You'll see a lot of openings there. Before here, I was working for Publicis Sapient and Lloyd's Banking Group in UK. I am from India, and I have worked in India, UK, and now moved to Australia in April. If you have any questions after the talk, Balram Singh is my Twitter handle. If you are looking for a tweet about this event, AliCamp is hashtag for today. So do tweet as much you can. And in case of fire, we have to exit before tweeting. Yeah. Cool. So design around people, also known as inclusive design, it is a methodology born out of digital environments that enables and draws on the full range of human diversity. Most importantly, this means including and learning from people with a different range of perspective. So including and learning from people with a different range of perspective is something that we are celebrating this festival of 4 days. And I will add some points, and we will get more knowledge around inclusive design and accessibility in next 2 days. So these are two definitions from World Health Organization in 1980 and today's. So in 1980, the definition of accessibility was a disability as a personal attribute. So if there is something that a normal human can do and someone can't do, he is considered to be a disabled. But in today's world, disability is not just a personal attribute. It is just as we said, it is a different perspective of looking into the things. So disability is not personal health condition, but it is mismatched human interactions. And why this is important, why accessibility is growing, and why we have started concerning so much about accessibility is because we care for tweets like this. When you decline an invite to a conference on accessibility because it is inaccessible to you. Because we care for people like Aaron. And because if you do not follow accessibility rules, almost all the government have accessibility laws, and you have to pay high penalty. And because all the modern JavaScript libraries support accessibility. So no matter you are using AngularJS, React.js, or Vue.js, every JavaScript library support accessibility. So this can't be an issue anymore. If you are following accessibility rule, it is good for SEO and usability benefits. Almost 80% of accessible improvements have SEO benefits. For example, if you are using proper semantic, it is good for SEO, it is good for accessibility, and good for SEO and accessibility means it is good for more revenue. We have although government have so strict rules for accessibility, and we saw why it is important, but still there are 7 out of 10 websites which are still inaccessible. This number may be 8 out of 10, but at least 70% of the websites are still inaccessible. And not even accessibility web page of Australian government website. So while preparing for these slides, I was looking into Australia government accessibility web page. And when I Googled accessibility in Australia government, I came to this page where they say, if any information or service provided by australia.government.au is inaccessible to you, or you are experiencing problems accessing content for any reason, please contact us. So if you are facing any issue, you will go to this contact us page. And what you will see is this 404 page. So in Australia government website, if you are facing any accessibility related issues, you can't do anything. But you have only choice to write them a letter. You'll write them a letter and then they will think about it, that they have to make their accessibility page accessible. So why it is important? Now, who is responsible for it? Is it just developer, or is it because your client has asked for a AA accessibility, or it is because your product owner likes to have accessibility rules implemented? No, it is everyone who is involved in software development life cycle. So no matter you are a designer, quality analyst, developer, product owner, business analyst, analytics team, solution architect, or a content writer. So whatever is your domain, you need, if you are concerned about accessibility, you can definitely add your inputs over there. And this is going to help like people like Erin. Higher inclusion means more business and happier customers. So you will get more revenue and a better user experience. Okay, so now we know that we care and why having accessibility is important. Now, how to solve it? So in order to solve it, we will see that what are the possible exclusions. And when we will have list of those exclusions, we will learn from them, we will learn from diversity, and then we will solve in a way that it is, if it is solved for one, it is solved for everyone. So if we categorize all the kind of exclusions, we can categorize them in 5 parts. One is touch. So someone who is not able to use touch, maybe because of hand tremor, or because of low vision, or maybe because of short-term memory loss, or someone may have visual related issues because of color blindness, or can't see it properly, or the most common problem that most of the men have, it is yellow-blue problem. So people have problems seeing yellow and blue color together. Or people may have hearing related issues, or cognitive, where maybe because of continuous repetitive stress injury, they are facing issue to memorize things. Or it can be ambulatory, where someone has problem in, let's say someone does not have a hand and he wants to use your website. So it can be not just limited to desktop, but whatever digital you are making, let's try to make it accessible. If it is a website, document, mobile application, or any app, let's make it accessible. So we have recognized these exclusions. Now let's see how we can learn from them. So this is one of the example. So not all kind of disabilities are permanent. Some may be permanent, while some may be temporary, while other may be a situational. And if we know that the accessibility is not just physical issues, it can be a situational. Let's say someone is doing something and wants to use website in parallel. So these are all kind of accessibility related issues. And for touch here, speak and see, we can see that all the accessibility issues are not permanent, some are situational. For example, for touch, there may be a new parent who is finding it difficult to use computer or use your website. Someone may have arm injury and he can't touch it. Or let's say someone does not have a hand. He does not have any option to touch the application. Similarly, for hearing, someone may have bartender. So while providing drinks, you can't hear it properly. So it is a situational issue. It is not a permanent. Someone may have ear infection, or someone is deaf. So if you are deaf, it is a permanent injury, but if you are a bartender, it is situational. Similarly, for speak, if you have a heavy accent, it is a situational. Not everyone can have issues hearing you. While seeing, if you are fully blind, if you have a cataract, or if you have a distracted driver, you can have different kind of disabilities. So if you have different kind of disabilities, so if we solve the best part of having these kind of disability in different format like permanent, temporary, and situational, If we solve for permanent, it is automatically solved for situational and temporary. So let's solve them. Now we got the concept, but how can we solve them? And how can make it part of the process so that it is a kind of a process of definition of doneness. When you are delivering any stuff, it is not considered to be as done until these accessibility issues are not met. So we can make it part of your build pipeline. So if your project is using CI/CD pipelines, where you have quality checks for unit test cases, sonar, static analysis, you can have accessibility as another quality check. And if that check is not met, you can simply fail your build, and that code won't merge in master branch. You can also make it part of your design system. So if you are working on any big project, I'm sure you will be using design system for your UI component library. And in UI component library, if you are using a Storybook, you have an option to integrate accessibility in your component library itself. So when you are working in making any new component, you will have all the accessibility checks already checked. Now you just need to plug and play with those components. You can add it in your editor. So no matter whatever editor are you using for developing application, all the editors provide accessibility tools. You just add them, integrate them, and start using them. It will automatically tell you where are the issues. You can make it part of your style guide. So if you are a UX person and you have a UX style guide, you can have it part of your style guide. So in your style guide, you should make sure that it has enough color contrast. So it should pass color contrast rules by WCAG. Not just use colors to define important information, because by looking into a color or by looking into an image, someone may think someone may drive some other thing while other person may think something else. So if it is a critical information, make it understandable by writing what it is describing about. For sure, if you are making web application and using focus state, make them a focus state. In a UX design, sometimes while delivering stuff from UX side, we ignore a focus state. We just think about form-related components like input, checkbox, radio buttons, text boxes, but we ignore things like menu, carousel, these stuff. This is one of the biggest accessibility issue that almost everyone would have seen. It is that keeping a placeholder as label as placeholder. So when you keep label as a placeholder and you start typing it, the content is gone. So you have to memorize, and if you have short-term memory loss problem, you don't remember what are you feeling about. Another reason is that when you are using label as a placeholder, since the label placeholder color is grayed out with low visibility, it is difficult for people with low vision to read it. Write useful alternative text for your image and non-text content. So as we discussed earlier, do not use just color or image to describe what you want to convey the message. You should always use the exact information that you want for user to accept, rather than just showing image. So for this example, this horse is eating something, but maybe someone can think that this horse is thinking while eating. For developers, this is one of the basic and best practices to use proper semantic HTML markup. So as you said, if you are using proper markup, it is good in terms of SEO, accessibility, higher revenue, happier customers. Support keyboard navigation. So people like who are facing stress injuries, or people who have difficulty to use mouse, or people like me who like using keyboard tab while filling form. So let's say there is a form that has 20 fields. It is hard to use mouse every time. I prefer using tabs. And best part of using tabs is it makes the use of the application faster. But I think everyone would have seen this example also. So let's say there is an example where you have to select country name, and what country name you choose, it will give you the list of the states of that country. And once you select any state, it will give you a list of cities of that country, that state. So most of the time it is handled at backend level where when you select country, it will hit a API and get the states related data. And you click on tab and your focus is lost. I think I have seen 90% of websites having this issue. So we have to start thinking from that direction also. I still remember when I was in UK, we were following AA accessibility rules, and the tools that we were using, if the component is passing all the AA accessibility rules, we say it is accessible. Then I attended a Intopia meetup, I think it was before 2-3 months, and met few people who are facing these kind of issues and are actually using the application. Then I started connecting with those people, and when you are connected with those people, you start thinking from their side. So it is not because I have to pass that AA level accessibility, not because I need to make something that is inclusive, where I'm including those people also. Apart from these, we can follow a few other guidelines. Accessibility cannot be a one person, so one person cannot solve all the accessibility related issue. And one should not even try to do it. It is a kind of a teamwork. And to fix it, best thing you can do is to get an accessibility audit or hire a permanent accessibility expert. For accessibility audit, we can go to companies like Intopia for accessibility audit of your application. And once that audit is done, you have to fix those issues and then sustain that application. And next is most important thing, and I think this is one of the key takeaway of this talk, is that test with actual users. Because there is no one who can give you true feedback. There are tools who miss many things, and that you can't even fix them because you don't know them. So when you start giving your application to the actual users, it is easier for you also to find those issues that even your tools cannot find. And once you have those issues, you can solve them. And you can get all the exceptions from actual users. For example, this is one of the trending accessibility exceptions that is trending these days in web. So where you see the button, which is using white color as text and with blue and red background. So the white text color, white text button is failing in contrast ratio in WCAG requirement, while the black one is passing. But on the basis of survey from the actual users, people said that white color text button is more readable and understandable than the black one. So you can't get these kind of exceptions from any tool. You have to go to the actual users only. And then this is one of my favorite example, carousel. So I find it, I think most of the websites where I have tried to use carousel, it is one of the most inaccessible component in web library. So let's say I'm using a tab key to access carousel component. And as and when you come to the carousel component, it will go to the, in default scenario, it will go to the previous button, and then you click tab, it will go to the next button, and a screen reader will say, next button, go to the next slide, go to the previous slide. And the worst thing happened with indicators, those indicators 1, 2, 3. So when you navigate there, it will say 1 out of 5 slides, 2 out of 5 slides. And if you want to go to the next slide, click on command options. But if I can't see the application, I got it that it is a carousel component. This is a previous button. This is a next button. This is first slide. But what is there inside the slide? That is always missing. Content is totally missing there. How we can fix it? We have to put some extra effort so that voiceover should speak Let's say for this particular slide, when your focus goes to this slide, it should say this is a slide, this is a carousel component, where this is for this case, this is a third out of three slides. And this is adventure of the space study using modern HTML5 technologies. The latest installment of our game performs great on your computer, tablet, or mobile. Play the game here. And if you want to play the game, click on command and options. So now user has a better experience, and if he is navigating through the keyboard, he can access your slides. This is it for me today. These are a few very good links that I referred for making these slides, or that I refer in general. One of the best reference for these accessibility related issues is UK government has issued 7-8 images for all kind of exclusions and how we can solve them. If you are more into a developer side, second link is very helpful, provided by WCAG, where if you are developing a menu, carousel, table component, forms component, what are accessibility related things that you should keep in mind, you will get all the information from there. If you are from UX side, second and third from the last links are very helpful from Microsoft and InVision. They have shown very good SVGs, GIF from there. And yes, this is it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for bearing with me. This is Balram Singh. Thank you.